The echo of Amanda Reynolds's voice cut through gate B14 like a blade. "You're in the wrong seat! This is business class!" Her words carried authority and something darker that would, in moments, unravel 8 years of her career and expose the rot beneath professional courtesy. Dr. Jordan Matthews sat motionless in seat 2A, his weathered briefcase beside polished Oxford shoes that had walked from Detroit's inner city to Pentagon corridors. The boarding pass in his steady hand displayed legitimate business class markings, but Amanda saw only what prejudice allowed. A black man in a space she believed he didn't belong. "I've seen this before," Amanda continued, drawing passenger attention. "People trying to sneak into seats they haven't paid for." Jordan's dark eyes remained fixed on her, expression unreadable. 30 years navigating skeptical boardrooms had taught him silence's value. What Amanda didn't know was that the man she was humiliating held power to reshape the foundation her livelihood stood upon. In 72 hours, Jordan would discuss an $8.2 billion defense contract with American Airlines board. But for now, he was just another black man questioned about his right to occupy a legitimately purchased seat. Gate B14 hummed with pre-flight preparation rhythm. Dr. Jordan Matthews moved through this chaos with measured pace, understanding both his worth and the world's frequent inability to recognize it. At 45, he carried quiet dignity from navigating spaces where his presence was perpetually questioned. He settled into 2A efficiently, a 200,000-mile annual flyer whose mind was already in Chicago's conference room where Lockheed Martin's American Airlines partnership would flourish or fracture. Amanda Reynolds noticed immediately. 8 years taught her to catalog passengers swiftly, and her algorithm flagged inconsistencies. Young black man in business class triggered assumptions never examined, never questioned. She approached confidently. "I need to see your boarding pass." Jordan retrieved it without words, extending it patiently. Amanda studied theatrically, questioning printed words' existence. "How did you pay for this?" The question escaped before training could catch it, hanging like accusation wrapped in curiosity. Jordan's fingers paused. The question wasn't about procedure. It was about permission to exist in this space. "Through my corporate account," he answered steadily. Amanda's dissatisfaction was visible. The plausible answer didn't align with prejudicial narrative. She needed deception evidence. "I'm going to verify this," she announced decisively. As Amanda walked away, Jordan returned to his laptop, but concentration evaporated. The familiar weight of perpetual trial settled over him. What she didn't know. The man she investigated controlled hundreds of millions in defense portfolios, held classified security clearances, commanded access to military installations. 30 minutes earlier, Jordan had walked Terminal 4 unremarkably. His rolling carry-on whispered against polished floors with seasoned traveler rhythm. He paused at Starbucks, ordering black coffee with understated efficiency. He had dressed deliberately, navy suit chosen carefully, understanding clothing was armor in a judgmental world. His tie conservative, shoes maintained but not flashy, calibrated to signal competence without ostentation. The irony wasn't lost. In 3 days, he'd discuss Pentagon satellite systems protecting global American interests. His clearance granted access to reshape defense strategies, yet here he chose outfits like armor for domestic racism battles. Amanda arrived 40 minutes early, surveying passengers with practiced categorization. Business travelers clutched devices tensely. Leisure passengers moved relaxed. Then others, those not fitting her constructed profiles. Her eyes hardened seeing Jordan approach. Business class meant corporate executives and wealthy retirees in her experience. Jordan's modest attire triggered unexamined assumptions. "Keep an eye on that one," she whispered to colleague Sarah Chen. "Something doesn't add up." Sarah followed her gaze confusedly. "What do you mean?" "Business class ticket, but look at him. Can he afford that seat? Amanda's voice carried casual, prejudicial certainty. Sarah felt uncomfortable but lacked confidence challenging senior colleagues. Everything appeared legitimate: expensive leather bag, confident posture, professional demeanor. But Amanda's 8 years carried weight. When Jordan settled into 2A, Amanda watched intensely. She noted his laptop familiarity, efficient seat adjustments, thick technical document folders. Every detail should confirm legitimacy, but bias filtered observations through suspicion. "I'm checking his ticket," Amanda announced. "But he showed it at the gate," Sarah protested. "Gate agents make mistakes. It's our responsibility ensuring passengers belong in assigned seats." Amanda approached carrying 8 years of experience, but decades of crystallized unconscious bias. She'd convinced herself fraud protection was duty, never recognizing her fraud definition linked to premium seating perceptions. Amanda returned with determination, supervisor validation echoing like prejudice blessing. "Sir, I need your boarding pass again," she announced with harder edge. "Investigation, not verification." Jordan looked up from satellite deployment schedules worth more than Amanda's salary while being questioned about seat legitimacy. "Of course," he replied patiently, noting her demeanor changes. Amanda examined with exaggerated scrutiny, checking corners for tampering, running fingers along text. Her performance communicated doubt about legitimate passengers requiring such verification. "Corporate credit card purchase?" she asked skeptically. "Yes. Through company travel," Jordan confirmed professionally. "What company?" Amanda's inquiry crossed from procedure to interrogation. Jordan recognized the trap. Naming Lockheed Martin would trigger disbelief. Remaining vague suggested deception. "Defense contracting," he answered neutrally. "Defense contracting," Amanda repeated dismissively. "Requiring business class?" The question hung toxically. Jordan felt familiar weight of justifying existence to someone who'd prejudged his value. "Ma'am, I've shown valid documentation multiple times. Your gate agent confirmed validity. What specific problem needs addressing?" Amanda interpreted reasonableness as defiance. "I'm verifying with our systems," she announced theatrically. Jordan recognized the power play designed for humiliation submission. "By all means, I'll wait." His calm acceptance infuriated Amanda. Fraudulent passengers should become agitated, defensive, apologetic. Jordan's serene confidence suggested extraordinary acting or genuine legitimacy. She wasn't considering the latter. At the counter, gate agent Marcus Williams accepted the pass resignedly. 12 LAX years showed him Amanda's verification patterns. Most ended with legitimate tickets and frustrated passengers. Marcus scanned Jordan's record instantly. Corporate account, platinum executive status, 5-year clean history, 0 incidents. The profile painted exactly what airlines competed for: high-value frequent traveler with corporate backing. "Completely legitimate," Marcus told Amanda firmly. "Corporate account verified, no payment issues, everything perfect." Amanda stared at data as if it might reorganize to match suspicions. Evidence overwhelmingly supported Jordan's legitimacy, but acknowledging required admitting prejudicial instincts. "Corporate accounts get compromised," she grasped desperately. "Double-check payment?" Marcus's patience frayed. "Ma'am, the ticket's valid. Passenger has every right to that seat. Something specific concerning you?" Amanda couldn't articulate real concerns without exposing bias. Marcus heard enough coded language understanding the situation. "Return to duties," Marcus suggested firmly. "Documentation's completely ordered." Amanda returned bitter with contradiction taste. Every system confirmed Jordan's legitimacy, but rather than accepting data, she doubled down, convinced system failure detecting fraud meant sophisticated deception. "Still not satisfied with verification," she announced, approaching Jordan's 3rd time. Jordan looked up, and passengers saw something harder flickering. Patience had limits, and Amanda was approaching his considerable tolerance boundary. Amanda decided transforming suspicion into spectacle, making Gate B14 a humiliation theater. What began as misguided verification metastasized into public shaming, wielding authority like a weapon against a man whose only crime was existing where she believed he didn't belong. "Ladies and gentlemen," Amanda announced, voice carrying across the gate, "we have a situation requiring everyone's attention." Calculated theatricality sent curiosity ripples through passengers, phones emerging like digital weapons. Jordan felt collective scrutiny's familiar weight. He'd experienced this transformation from individual to spectacle, from person to problem, representing every stereotype poisoning American racial discourse. This passenger, Amanda gestured dismissively, is attempting to occupy business class with fraudulent documentation. I've verified with systems, and inconsistencies suggest illegitimate purchase. The lie flowed easily from someone convincing herself fiction became truth through repetition. Every system confirmed Jordan's legitimacy, but Amanda moved beyond facts into prejudicial certainty. "Ma'am," Jordan responded with measured authority, "I've shown legitimate documentation multiple times. Your systems confirmed validity. What specific evidence supports these accusations?" His calm professionalism infuriated rather than reassured Amanda. In her experience, guilty parties crumbled under pressure. Jordan's composure suggested exceptional deception or genuine legitimacy. She wasn't considering the latter. "Don't turn this around on me," she snapped shrilly. 8 years' experience recognizes fraud. People like you think you can walk into business class pretending you belong. People like you! 3 words, stripping pretense, exposing rotten motivational core. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, some recording, others looking away, embarrassed by naked prejudice. Jordan absorbed the insult with practiced grace. "What kind of person am I, Ms. Reynolds? Explain to everyone exactly what you mean." Amanda realized she'd crossed uncrossable lines, but retreat felt like defeat. "You know exactly what I mean. People gaming systems, manipulating privileges they haven't earned." "Based on what evidence?" Jordan pressed, voice weighted. "My appearance? Age? Race? What determines my character and seatworthiness?" "I don't justify professional judgment to you," Amanda declared, attempting authority through volume. Jordan reached into his briefcase deliberately, withdrawing a folder with corporate identification, security clearance, business card. But he didn't reveal them yet, placing the folder like waiting evidence. "I'm asking you to move to economy or leave," Amanda ultimatumed. "Refuse, and security removes you." The threat electrified the area. Phones emerged earnestly, social media exploding. LAX discrimination, American Airlines racism, business class while black. The story escaped B14's confines, spreading through digital networks with viral outrage velocity. Jordan called calmly. "David, I need American Airlines corporate contact immediately. We have a situation requiring executive intervention." "Yes, regarding Lockheed partnership." Amanda watched uneasily. Fraudulent passengers didn't call corporate executives, didn't carry quiet authority, didn't transform humiliation into strategic maneuvering. For the first time, doubt crept into her certainty. But doubt was unaffordable. Too many watched. Too much was said. Too many bridges burned. She was committed regardless of evidence, trapped in performances requiring Jordan's guilt for her to avoid wrongness. "Security's coming," she announced, escalating beyond quiet resolution possibility. Jordan placed a second, briefer, more coded call with implications soon reverberating through American Airlines executive offices like earthquake tremors. He wasn't just a passenger anymore, he was a problem requiring highest-level management solutions. Gate B14's transformation from departure point to social justice battlefield began with 2 security officers arriving, magnetizing every camera. Amanda's misguided fraud exposure attempt was becoming a masterclass in how institutional-backed prejudice could spiral beyond control. Officer Marcus Rodriguez and Janet Kim approached with weary professionalism, briefed about disruptive passenger refusing crew compliance, description activating standard protocols without preparing them for complex reality ahead. "What's the situation?" Rodriguez asked Amanda neutrally. Amanda launched passionate narrative with professional credibility hanging in balance. "This passenger refuses legitimate documentation for business class. I've verified systems. Serious irregularities exist. He's been argumentative throughout." Rodriguez turned to Jordan, noting calm demeanor and professional appearance. Experience taught him recognizing genuine disruption versus misunderstandings. Jordan didn't fit disruptive profiles. "Your version?" Rodriguez asked genuinely. "I purchased business class through corporate travel. I've shown Ms. Reynolds my boarding pass multiple times. Your gate agent confirmed validity. I've been cooperative, but I'm concerned about discriminatory assumptions rather than actual policy violations." Discrimination accusations hung challengingly. Rodriguez felt familiar racial tension, emphasizing de-escalation, while Amanda's defensiveness suggested simple solutions unavailable. "He's making this about race," Amanda protested indignantly. "This is purely procedural fraud protection." Officer Kim noticed growing passenger crowds recording everything. Social media transformed minor disputes into viral controversies. She recognized volatile ingredients present. "If the gate agent confirmed validity, what concerns remain?" Kim asked Amanda. Amanda felt cornered by logic. "Gate agents make mistakes. 8 years' experience tells me something's wrong." The crowd's attention attracted every passenger, transforming private humiliation into public spectacle. A middle-aged businessman called out, "If the attendant says there's probably problems." But opposition voices quickly dominated. A young black woman live streaming spoke directly to her audience. "Y'all see this? They're removing this man from business class for being black in spaces they think he doesn't belong." Live streams gained exponential viewers. LAX discrimination trended as viewers shared similar experiences. Business class while black emerged organically, capturing Jordan's specific humiliation while connecting broader racial profiling patterns. Amanda watched Digital Uprising horrified. This wasn't supposed to become national incidents, just simple procedure enforcement, quiet, suspicious resolution. But crowd reaction suggested her suspicious definitions weren't universally shared. Kevin Miller's arrival, Amanda's supervisor, escalated from individual prejudice to institutional crisis. Summoned by Amanda's frantic backup calls, Kevin brought administrative authority, transforming confrontation from misunderstanding to warfare. "What's the holdup?" Kevin demanded impatiently. Amanda briefed quickly, emphasizing Jordan's non-compliance while minimizing racial undertones. Kevin absorbed her narrative through employee-trusting filters while maintaining discriminatory motivation deniability. "Sir," Kevin addressed Jordan with problem-requiring firm resolution tone, "Ms. Reynolds has valid concerns. American Airlines reserves rights verifying passenger credentials and removing passengers unable providing adequate legitimacy proof." Jordan's expression hardened imperceptibly. Individual prejudice transforming into corporate policy represented qualitative escalation requiring different responses. This wasn't just Amanda anymore. This was American Airlines institutionally supporting discrimination packaged as customer service. "Your gate agent confirmed my ticket's validity. Your systems show no irregularities. What additional documentation do you require, and what policies support requests beyond what I've provided?" Kevin felt legal precision, recognizing they'd entered territory where corporate policies might not support actions. But Amanda's certainty and crowd attention created seemingly irreversible momentum without admitting error. "We have broad discretion ensuring flight safety and security. If crew has passenger concerns, we have authority addressing through whatever means we deem appropriate." Whatever means we deem appropriate rippled through crowds like stone in water. Implications were clear. American Airlines claimed rights removing passengers based on crew suspicions rather than violations, essentially legalizing selective discrimination. Jordan called again, voice carrying harder edge of someone beyond patience into strategic response. Sarah, contact American Airlines executives immediately. Tell them Dr. Jordan Matthews experiences discriminatory treatment at LAX B14, live-streamed to thousands. Yes, the Lockheed Matthews. Yes, the defense contract. Kevin felt cold stomach settling, processing implications. Corporate executives, defense contracts, live-streaming thousands. This wasn't passenger disputes. This was crisis-destroying careers and costing millions in revenue and reputation. But Amanda, energized by supervisory support, pressed forward recklessly. I don't care who you think you are. You're not getting special treatment because you make calls and throw important names. Comply with reasonable requests or be removed. Livestream viewers erupted digitally. Comments flooded nationally from people recognizing racial prejudice and corporate cover-up patterns. The story became real-time national news, shared by influencers and citizens understanding Jordan represented every person of color questioned, doubted, and humiliated for existing in spaces challenging assumptions. Jordan placed final calls with calm authority, reaching negotiations' end, moving into consequence realm. David, activate contingency protocols. Yes, for American Airlines partnership. No, this can't wait. They've chosen public confrontation, so we'll resolve publicly. Kevin realized they'd crossed irreversible lines. The intimidated passenger wasn't just fighting back. He was mobilizing resources threatening fundamental relationships between American Airlines and defense contracting partners. Transformation began with Amanda's phone chirping sharply through B-14's tension. Caller ID displayed AA Corporate Executive, and Amanda's confidence flickered first time since confrontation began. Ms. Reynolds, Patricia Wong's voice, Senior VP Operations, carried career-ending conversation gravity. Stop whatever you're doing immediately and listen carefully. Amanda's face drained, recognizing executive-level implications. Around her, passengers sensed dynamic shifts without understanding sources. Ma'am, I don't understand, Amanda stammered, authority evaporating. I'm following standard suspicious passenger procedures. The passenger you've been harassing is Dr. Jordan Matthews, Senior VP Aerospace Systems at Lockheed Martin. He oversees $8.2 billion in defense contracts, including partnerships employing over 4,000 American Airlines personnel. Words hung like explosion smoke. Amanda's posture collapsed, processing error magnitude. Passengers recording exchanged shocked glances. Livestream comments erupted as viewers realized they witnessed casual racism colliding with institutional power. Kevin Miller felt knees weakening, understanding implications. This wasn't manageable passenger complaints. This threatened fundamental business relationships, keeping American Airlines competitive in government contracting. Dr. Matthews remained seated throughout revelations, expression unchanged except slight eye tightening suggesting satisfaction, not surprise. He'd known exactly who he was throughout. Revelation was for everyone else's benefit. Furthermore, Patricia continued weightily, this incident's been live-streamed to over 50,000 viewers, trending nationally. Every major outlet's picking up the story. You've created public relations catastrophe threatening millions in revenue and partnerships. Amanda's phone trembled, processing destruction scale. Routine passenger screening became viral corporate discrimination symbol broadcast to exponentially growing audiences. Expensive suited individuals approached B-14 with crisis managers' purposeful stride. Robert Chen, CEO, led them, flanked by attorneys and PR specialists whose presence signaled escalation beyond normal protocols. Dr. Matthews, Chen addressed Jordan with formal respect reserved for corporate fortune shapers. On behalf of American Airlines, I personally apologize for today's discriminatory treatment. CEO presence transformed the gate into corporate theater. Passengers pressed closer, capturing historic commercial aviation racial bias moments. Jordan stood slowly with measured dignity, privately mobilizing institutional power while publicly enduring humiliation gracefully. His voice carried quiet defense-contracting authority. "Mr. Chen, I appreciate apologies, but words alone won't address systematic problems making this incident possible. Your employees didn't question documentation for security. They questioned my business class existence rights because of racial prejudice disguised as policy enforcement." Livestream audiences digitally applauded as Jordan articulated what millions recognized, but few could express so clearly. His words resonated beyond B14 with anyone experiencing commercial discrimination. Robert Chen understood facing not just customer complaints but institutional reckoning defining American Airlines' racial bias responses. Wrong responses could cost millions in revenue, partnerships, and regulatory scrutiny. "Dr. Matthews, you're absolutely right," Chen replied, with rarely accompanying corporate acknowledgement weight. "This represents training, policy, and equal treatment commitment failures. We take full responsibility, committed to systematic changes preventing similar incidents." Amanda Reynolds and Kevin Miller stood frozen, recognizing professional destruction. Their targeted removal passenger held more institutional power than their entire management chain. Race, class, and belonging assumptions collided with reality most publicly and devastatingly. Jordan withdrew his briefcase folder, extracting Lockheed identification, security clearance, corporate card. Instead of retaliation weapons, he placed them quietly beside him. "These credentials shouldn't matter," he said, voice carrying across silent gates. "Every passenger deserves dignified, respectful treatment regardless of occupation or status. Having institutional accountability power doesn't excuse experienced discrimination. It provides platforms highlighting discrimination happening to powerless people daily." Crowds absorbed words recognizing something rare, genuine power used addressing systematic injustice rather than seeking personal vindication. Chen nodded, acknowledging Jordan's point. "You're correct, Dr. Matthews. Our response can't be limited to your specific situation. We need examining and reforming policies and training making this possible." Jordan's phone buzzed. "Pentagon briefing rescheduled. Defense Secretary wants personal incident briefing. National security discrimination implications discussed at highest levels. Personal became political. Local became national. Amanda's casual racism became catalyst for highest government and corporate power discussions about discrimination. Execution was swift, clinical, devastatingly precise. Within minutes of Robert Chen's public institutional failure acknowledgement, American Airlines' corporate machinery moved with military operation efficiency designed containing catastrophic damage. This wasn't just damage control, this was corporate amputation of infected limbs threatening entire organizational bodies. "Ms. Reynolds, Mr. Miller," Patricia Wong's voice carried corporate judgment finality. "Effective immediately, your American Airlines employment is terminated. Security will escort you from premises. You'll receive formal dismissal notification within 24 hours. Words landed like physical blows. Amanda Reynolds, approaching confrontations with 8 years' confident authority, found herself stripped of uniform, badge, and professional identity in full view of passengers she'd attempted humiliating. Live streams captured her transformation from institutional enforcer to unemployed cautionary tale real-time. Kevin Miller's shock was more profound, having invested supervisory authority in Amanda's prejudicial instincts. 23 American Airlines years evaporated between Patricia Wong's words and their irreversible consequences. "You can't do this," Amanda protested desperately. "I followed company procedures, protected airlines from fraud. This isn't fair." Robert Chen's response carried cold precision. Understanding fairness was luxury American Airlines couldn't afford. "Ms. Reynolds, you subjected valued customers to racial discrimination while representing our company. You created public relations crisis damaging relationships worth hundreds of millions. Your actions weren't protecting American Airlines. They exposed us to legal, financial, reputational consequences taking years repairing. Live stream audiences watched Amanda's meltdown with complex satisfaction and discomfort, accompanying public consequences for private prejudices. Her tears weren't generating sympathy. They highlighted gaps between discriminatory actions and belated consequence recognition. Jordan observed corporate theater with detached professionalism, witnessing similar defense contracting reckonings where mistakes carried national security implications and personal accountability wasn't optional. But his focus wasn't Amanda's destruction, it was institutional changes preventing similar incidents. Mr. Chen, Jordan addressed the CEO directly, terminating these employees addresses symptoms, not disease. American Airlines needs systematic passenger service protocol reform, mandatory bias training for customer-facing personnel, independent discrimination complaint oversight. His recommendations carried someone accustomed to restructuring institutional failures weight, whose billion-dollar defense contract experience taught systematic rather than reactive thinking. Chen recognized both Jordan's suggestions' wisdom and political necessity. The incident attracted civil rights organizations, federal regulators, congressional representatives, viewing commercial discrimination as pursuit-worthy voting issues. Dr. Matthews, you're absolutely right, Chen replied. American Airlines commits implementing comprehensive anti-discrimination training for all employees, establishing independent bias complaint review boards, partnering with civil rights organizations, auditing passenger service protocols. Commitments weren't just public relations gestures, they were legally binding promises made before thousands of witnesses and recorded for permanent documentation. Jordan had transformed personal humiliation into systematic change institutional leverage, but consequences extended far beyond American Airlines' internal policies. The incident attracted federal attention at levels corporate executives typically avoided. Jordan's security clearance and defense contracting role meant his discrimination became national security concern, raising questions about systematic bias affecting other critical government-private industry partnerships. Amanda Reynolds's final American Airlines act was security escort through terminals, past passengers recognizing her from viral videos, past colleagues avoiding career-protecting eye contact, past professional life she'd destroyed through casual cruelty disguised as corporate policy. Kevin Miller's departure was quieter, but equally devastating. His supervisory authority had amplified Amanda's discrimination, transforming individual prejudice into institutional practice. His termination sent messages throughout American Airlines management. Discrimination wouldn't be tolerated at any level. Supervisory discriminatory behavior support would be punished as severely as discrimination itself. Dr. Jordan Matthews finally stood boarding his flight, the business class seat triggering hours-long confrontation, now restored with corporate apologies and public vindication. But boarding wasn't routine return. It was journey beginning, taking his experience from viral moment to policy reform, personal vindication to systematic change. Walking down jetways, Jordan's phone buzzed with congressional offices, civil rights organizations, media outlets requesting interviews. His discrimination had become catalyst for national commercial aviation bias conversations, racial prejudice and corporate power intersection discussions, institutional customer protection rather than persecution responsibilities. Amanda Reynolds and Kevin Miller's professional destruction was complete, but it was only consequence beginnings rippling through American Airlines corporate culture, federal regulatory frameworks, national equality discussions in commercial settings. 2 hours into flight AA 1847, Dr. Jordan Matthews sat in business class seat that had cost 2 careers and triggered national discrimination conversations. Everything had changed. The passenger beside him, white executive witnessing gate confrontations, leaned over curiously. "How did you stay so calm? I would have lost my temper completely." Jordan closed his laptop, reviewing the same satellite schedules occupying his attention when Amanda first approached. Irony wasn't lost reviewing American interest protection, while experiencing American prejudice at institutional levels. Losing temper wouldn't change their minds, Jordan replied reflectively. It would confirm assumptions about who I am, justifying their treatment. The most powerful discrimination response isn't anger, it's competence, dignity, and strategic leverage use creating systematic change. His words carried wisdom from navigating hostile environments throughout careers. Understanding personal vindication mattered less than institutional reform. Recognizing individual incidents were only meaningful if contributing to broader justice patterns. Different crew flight attendants approached with genuine warmth and professionalism, highlighting how dramatically Jordan's experience could differ with different personnel. She offered champagne and snacks with respect that should have been standard rather than noteworthy. "Dr. Matthews," she said quietly, "not all of us share attitudes you experience today. Many joined this industry believing in service and hospitality for everyone, regardless of who they are or what they look like." Jordan accepted her words gratefully while recognizing limitations. Individual good intentions weren't sufficient addressing systematic problems. Personal kindness couldn't compensate institutional failures. Exceptional post-discrimination treatment didn't erase discrimination itself. His phone continued buzzing with national media interview requests wanting to discuss his experience. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, numerous publications recognized his story represented larger American corporate culture themes about race, power, and accountability. But Jordan was selective about requests. Understanding his platform came with responsibility addressing root causes rather than recounting personal grievances. During Washington Post calls, Jordan articulated perspectives with defense contracting precision. "This incident wasn't about me personally. It was about systematic assumptions allowing discrimination flourishing when disguised as policy enforcement. American Airlines' response demonstrates change is possible when institutions face genuine bias operating consequences." His analysis focused on solutions rather than blame, systematic reform rather than individual punishment, leveraging experience, protecting others lacking similar institutional accountability demanding power. Broader implications were already manifesting beyond American Airlines. Congressional representatives announced commercial aviation discrimination investigation plans. Transportation Department was reviewing passenger rights protections. Civil rights organizations used his story highlighting bias patterns affecting millions of travelers, lacking his visibility and influence. Jordan understood his individual experience had catalyzed necessary conversations, regardless of personal involvement. Live stream footage would become bias education training material. His calm response would be studied as crisis management. His strategic institutional leverage use would demonstrate how power could be wielded for justice rather than personal advantage. As flights descended toward Chicago, Jordan reflected on his situation's paradox. His defense contractor position granted him classified American global interest protection access, yet he'd just experienced systematic American corporation discrimination. His security clearance confirmed national secret handling trustworthiness, but his race made him suspect for business class seat occupancy. Contradictions highlighted American identity and belonging complexity, ways institutional acceptance and social prejudice could coexist, reality that professional success didn't insulate anyone from discriminatory treatment when supported by corporate indifference. But Jordan's response had transformed personal humiliation into institutional accountability, individual experience into systematic reform, discrimination moment into broader justice catalyst. His calm, pressured dignity prevented escalation while documenting incidents for maximum impact. His strategic corporate leverage use forced American Airlines addressing discrimination as business imperatives rather than moral luxuries. Most importantly, his experience demonstrated confronting discrimination required not just individual courage, but systematic thinking, not just personal resistance, but institutional pressure, not just viral moments, but sustained reform commitment. Dr. Jordan Matthews stepped off flight AA 1847 into Chicago O'Hare's familiar bustle, no longer just another business traveler, but someone whose experience had sparked global conversations. His phone buzzed with notifications where Johnner business class, while Black generated 2.3 million interactions, where his story sparked conversations in languages he didn't speak, among people recognizing universal dignity and justice themes. His victory's true measure wasn't Amanda Reynolds' termination or American Airlines reforms, though both were necessary institutional failure consequences. Real transformation happened in airports nationwide, where passengers and employees engaged biased conversations, assumptions discussions, and speaking up against discrimination responsibilities. A young Black woman approached near baggage claim, eyes bright with recognition. "Dr. Matthews, I wanted thanking you for handling that situation. My daughter saw live streams. We discussed dignity under pressure, not letting prejudice define your worth. You showed her something important about staying strong when people try making you small." Jordan accepted thanks while understanding his individual experience was only meaningful contributing to broader change, only valuable helping others navigate similar situations with greater confidence and support. Real work happens when people like you refuse accepting discrimination as normal, he replied. When passengers speak up for each other, employees challenge biased policies, companies face real consequences for allowing prejudice operating under their authority. Change requires all of us, not just people experiencing discrimination. As Jordan waited for luggage, he reflected on journeys bringing him from Detroit's struggling schools to defense contracting power corridors. Every step was shadowed by people questioning his belonging, assuming limitations, underestimating capabilities based on prejudicial calculations rather than actual performance. But each encounter was also opportunity exceeding expectations, demonstrating competence beyond assumptions, transforming skeptics into supporters through consistent excellence and professional integrity. His career built on understanding extraordinary achievement was admission price to spaces where his presence challenged comfortable belonging assumptions. Irony wasn't lost that his American interest protection work through defense contracting prepared him to protect American values through discrimination accountability. Skills making him effective in national security, strategic thinking, pressure calmness, complex problem systematic analysis served him well confronting institutional bias. His phone buzzed. Pentagon briefing confirmed Tuesday. Defense Secretary wants personal incident discussion of national security implications. Congressional Subcommittee requesting discrimination in defense contracting partnerships testimony. Jordan smiled, recognizing his individual experience resonating at American government and corporate power highest levels. His LAX humiliation became systematic change conversation leverage. Personal dignity became institutional reform platform. Quiet strength became national accountability catalyst. But most important outcomes wouldn't be measured in policy changes or corporate reforms, crucial as those were. Real victory would be countless individual moments when people chose speaking up rather than staying silent. When institutions chose accountability over convenience, when society chose justice over comfortable discriminatory status quo maintenance. Understanding his story was still being written, Jordan retrieved luggage and headed toward transportation. Live streams had ended, but live streams had also begun. Ongoing broadcasts of how courageous individuals and integrity institutions could work together creating equality America promised but didn't always deliver. His message wasn't just about individual discrimination triumph, but collective responsibility, ensuring dignity and respect weren't privileges reserved for institutional power people, but rights guaranteed every human being regardless of race, class, or social position. Remember, he told reporters, character is revealed not in how we treat superiors, but how we treat those we perceive beneath us. Remember, too, people you underestimate today might determine your future tomorrow. But more importantly, every person deserves respect regardless of power they do or don't hold. Dr. Jordan Matthews walked into Chicago evening, carrying not just justice satisfaction, but responsibility, using his platform, ensuring his experience catalyzed systematic changes, protecting others lacking his visibility, resources, or institutional accountability demanding leverage. His victory's real test would be measured not in viral moments, but quieter transformations. Bias training actually changing behavior, policies actually protecting dignity, culture actually valuing equality over comfortable prejudicial assumption maintenance. Character, indeed, was revealed not in power moments, but principle moments. Dr. Jordan Matthews had demonstrated principle, properly applied, could transform personal humiliation into institutional accountability, individual dignity into systematic justice, and viral moments into lasting change.